Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we're going to talk about an article from the future, an article you're not supposed to have read yet. We talk about foreign policy on this channel a lot, and we talk about making estimates, assessments, predicting what the other side is going to do, whoever the other side is. And when we talk about it, I often talk about intent because that's the key. Countries don't announce what they want to do. They come up with pretexts to explain their actions, and then if those actions are successful, then they let you know, right? They don't tell you ahead of time what they really want because they're at that international poker game where everybody's cheating. Knowing the intent makes your estimates, your predictions, a whole lot more accurate because, well, it's easier to figure out what moves somebody is going to make if you know what they're trying to do. The thing is that generally speaking, countries, they don't tell you that. It's not like they go out and publish a public relations piece explaining their intent. So, Russian state media accidentally published an article talking about their victory in Ukraine. It was obviously not supposed to be published when it was. It is interesting to note that its time of publication would have been right after Russia installed the new government in Ukraine if everything had gone according to plan. So the best guess is that this article was pre-written. That part's obvious. But it was probably written before the operation even started. And it was scheduled to go out once they won because they were very overconfident. And when things didn't go that way, nobody changed the schedule for it to be released. So it got released. It wasn't out long, but it was out long enough to get archived. I will have the links down below. So what's it say? It gloats. It gloats. It talks about their intent. It says exactly why they're doing what they're doing now. Because when this article was supposed to be published, they were already successful. So that they're broadcasting, they're messaging to the world about what they had accomplished. Those pretexts, all that stuff that they brought up as justification for this, it's not in there because it's not what it's about. It was never about that. It never is. It's always about one thing and one thing only: power. The article explains that the goal of this operation is to bring Belarus and Ukraine under direct control of Moscow. The governments there, they're supposed to be puppets, nothing more. Talks about acting as one on the geopolitical stage. It also talks about how the West is stupid, which is, funny given everything that's going on with this. So the goal here is to enact Putin's dream of making a more powerful Russia by reasserting claims over, I think he called them ancient lands or something like that. That newfound bloc, Belarus, Ukraine, and Russia, that would form the greater Russian world. And it would challenge the West. And it would try to elevate Russia from being a near peer to being a peer again, to being a superpower. That's the goal. It's imperialism, nothing more. And for those that have a problem with me defining it that way, let's be clear. One country invaded another, not for any of the reasons that it gave, not for any of the pretexts. It invaded another to take control of that country's government and make it subordinate to the invading country. It's imperialism. That's what this was about. Power. Once they have that, they're able to project more power. What does this change on the ground for Ukraine? Not much. Other than the knowledge that Putin may not be flexible on this. To him, this is his legacy. This is what he is leaving the world, a more powerful Russia. It may mean something to the Russian soldiers, though, because, as happens a lot, they're there on a lie. They're there to satisfy the ambitions of some dedushka, some old man who has dreams of being in a history book. This little propaganda package that went out, it wasn't supposed to be there. We were never supposed to see this until after it was done. It's worth the time to read it because you get good insight into the messaging that the Kremlin wanted to push out to the world. You get good insight into Putin's mind and to what their goals are. It's also really racist, too, by the way, which is, I honestly didn't see that coming, but there is a whole lot of attempts at stoking ethnic divisions within the West, buried in it. Because again, it's gloating. The West was powerless to stop Russia from taking over Ukraine. They only took 4 days to do it. I'll have it below. It's definitely worth a read. And this definitely sums up that whole your propaganda is bad and you should feel bad thing. For those who have been going to bat for Putin on this, you need to read it the most. All of the justifications, everything that he put out to the world, all of the messaging was all false. It's not what it's about. And if you bought it, don't feel bad. You had a whole bunch of foreign policy experts that bought it. Had a whole bunch of American politicians on TV parroting those points because they thought that's what it was about too. At the end of the day, it is always about the same thing. It's about power. And it's about some old guy wanting more power, his name in a history book, some legacy to leave behind. And because of that, there's a bunch of 19-year-old conscripts out there. It's always the same thing. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.